Hello, everyone. To everyone who I haven't met before, my name is Carl Volker. I'm the Director of Innovation and Technology for the town of Acton. At the end of this week, I'll be here for 10 months, so not too far into it. I oversee the information technology and GIS teams. There are 2 IT support technicians, Justin Flynn, Brian Cody, and they both just recently celebrated 10 years with the town of Acton, which is nice. Sitting next to me is the Director of Data Analytics and Applications, Kristen Alexander. She's been here for 25 years. And we also have a application specialist, GIS analyst, Andy Atala, and he is a recent hire for us. I think he's been here 2-3 months now. Our department supports a wide variety of services, from the wired network to wireless network, email services, telecommunications, radio communications for the public safety, networking between all public buildings, and including like sewer facilities and whatnot, and our FM radio station, our low power FM radio station. I want to highlight a couple of accomplishments that we had over the past year. I came in towards the tail end of this. We're upgrading core components to the town's voice over IP system, so a lot of Cisco gear for that. The team had already started that, and we were wrapping it up as I came on board. We implemented a new electronic voting system. I think that we all saw this at town meeting, and it may have looked similar to before, but it was a new system that allows for instant counting of the voting from between the various rooms, rather than having to do the counting on isolated systems and report it back to one desk and tally it up there. I think it went well. It's a new technology. We put it online. We got it in-house probably about a week and a half before town meeting. There was a lot of research done on it. It wasn't haphazard. I talked to John about it. But we felt we were confident putting it in there. It'd be a nice, and sometimes you just need to pull the Band-Aid off and get it going. So I think, and we had a vendor on site with it. So I think we were careful for it. It's an important meeting, and we wanted to make sure that everything was good with it. We have largely completed the town's email system upgrade. I know that shows in the budget book there was just a miscommunication that it would be a goal for next year. It has been essentially completed. All users are over and migrated to it, and I'm just doing some back-end work to get some of the older systems offline. But and that was a large project, and it was I started it when I got here, and it's taken a lot of time. Got a lot of support from it from staff, and everything good. Change is tough. This was a big one, but it was good to get that system offline. We also completed the phase 1 of the radio communication enhancement project, and the bulk of this was upgrading the systems at the PSF Dispatch Center. So they went from the old Zetron consoles. I don't know if anybody had seen those before, the push buttons, and now it's all touch screen. We updated all the radios in the back-end infrastructure, and this will help us when we look to phase 2 to do simulcast between the different sites and improve radio communication. So it was a pretty substantial job. It was somewhat configured prior to my starting, but there have been no gear put in. So we did a bulk of it. We got that fired up right before July 4th. It disruptive for the dispatch because there was a lot of change, but they did very well with it, and I thought we did it pretty, I wouldn't say seamless, but I think it went pretty well. And then lastly, I'll mention that the town's GIS maps, there were 3 of them that were recognized by the state and used an example in their open space and recreation plan workbook. So I think I credit Kristen and her hard work there to get those, brought up in front of the state. Upcoming projects will begin phase 2 of the radio communication enhancement project. We'll start by reviewing the existing sites, evaluation of potential new sites, and additional infrastructure upgrades. So this will be, looking at what we have. We've brought a RF and engineering consultant on board to assist with this, so we'll build coverage maps. We know we have a very weak area up in North Acton, and there is a telecommunications tower that's going up, and we should be able to have space on that, or we will be able to have space on that, and I think that'll be key, and also going simulcast. So that has just started now. I think it'll take a month or 2 at least to get through that analysis, get our coverage maps, and then we'll build out an equipment list, and then it'll go out to vendors to bid on the project, because there'll be different parts of it. There'll be equipment at the base that needs to be installed, and if it's upgrading some of the systems that we have some old base stations at the sites like Great Hill and Wingcliff. And then also be tower work, because we'll put new antennas up there. So we may break it out. Town meeting did allocate money for the project, and it's good, and I think we want to be careful with it. I think, try to really get the bang for the buck, because I think we're missing, there's poor coverage in here. And hopefully at the same time, we can save some money to also upgrade some of the radios. As Chief Cogan mentioned, some of those are 20, 25 years old. And some of the radios that we're looking at 10 grand a pop. But, they're critical systems. So I think, hopefully we have some money for that left in that budget. We're working on replacing some core storage systems that are end of life, and this is for, a variety of purposes. Some data storage, our virtual architecture uses this for storage. The stuff we're using now is quite old, and we were able to find funding at the end of last fiscal year to buy that. I'm in the process of putting that in place, and hopefully within the next few months we'll be able to get that locked in. System-wide GIS upgrade to ARC Pro, that was paused from FY26, and that's something Kristen's team will work on. There was a lot of transition in this department. It went from operations that encompass facilities and IT, and it was just changes. Kristen took on a lot of it, so I think some of the GIS stuff is backlog, and we'll catch up on that. And so that'll be one of the projects and why it was mentioned again. And then the next phase to integrate scanned historical information into MapGeo. So that's another thing that Kristen's team will work on. And just some highlights. Kristen continues to lead the hotline team. It's very active. I'm on that. I see all the messages. I try to cover for Kristen when she's out to try to respond or send it out to departments. The GIS team produced 68 maps this year. IT, we handle a lot of volume of help desk. There's a facilities help desk, an IT help desk. I see every help desk ticket that comes in, try to jump on when I can. It's a high volume, and sometimes they're busier than others. And I just think, coming into this, the IT system is very complex here. It's interesting. I love the spread of it, and I think, credit to Kristen for jumping on and taking on a huge load to support the IT team. I credit the IT team for the work that they've done, because it's it can be daunting. If you don't know these systems, you get in there, I get in here, and there's been a large learning curve. It's been exciting. And I enjoy it, and I think the support of Kristen to get me up to speed on the variety of systems from, Munis, and the procurement system changes from where I've come from, so that was extremely helpful. And same with the IT guys. They work really hard. They enjoy what they do. They give great customer service. My office is right outside theirs, and I hear them talking on the phone. They jump on stuff, and they won't hesitate to get in one of the vehicles and shoot over to the building. So I think good stuff there. And overall with the budget, we're pretty relatively even. There's some changes and slight changes, but I think, I'm taking this first year to look at a lot of the contracts that we have. I like negotiating stuff. I like looking for good prices. I don't want to just stick with one vendor, because that's what we've done. And I'll continue that. I think Leo said it, I'll treat it like my money. And, I like to get good bargains and good support from John and everybody in the management office, and it's actually a pretty great place to work. So that is my report. Appreciate the time tonight.